You know, I think it's one of those universal things, like the fact that everybody is afraid of clowns. I think everybody will agree that the word they can't stand the most is moist. Like everybody has a problem with that. I think likewise, it's universal that nobody orders the soup. Everything else on the menu is going to be way better. Hello. Today we're going to be making an updated chicken soup. Soup as a dish, as a menu item, has been needing a major makeover for a really long time. It is just so boring. There are so many things that are so much better. Let me just state what might be the obvious. The real issue with soup is that it is just too wet. I mean, if liquid is one of the main ingredients in your recipe, there is a problem. So today we're going to be updating chicken soup, which is a classic. Okay, I'm gonna get all of my ingredients for this soup prepped. Now, the most important part of this is, of course, the chicken. And you want to choose a cut of chicken that's going to give you the most flavor, something that's really high quality. So I went to my butcher and I had him collect for me a couple of pounds of chicken legs. And what I love about the leg is that it's, of course, on the bone and it has the skin on. So I'm getting all of that flavor. Plus, it's the perfect size already. I don't have to cut up a whole chicken into big parts to be able to portion it out. This is already in the perfect size. Chicken soup is sometimes known as Jewish penicillin. I'm half Jewish, and so I grew up eating chicken soup like if I had a cold or if I was just feeling down, like it's something that I would have. I like to think of my updated version as like Jewish Lexapro. We need to season up our chicken legs, so like lots and lots of salt. Like don't be afraid. Seasoning everything excessively is what's going to make this flavorful. Put more on than you think you need. Okay, so I'm just gonna get all of my aromatics browning in my stock pot. You know how I like my shortcuts. And I don't get overzealous with washing my vegetables. Usually I'm okay with a quick rinse. I mean, these all are organic, so they're fine. But this leek was really, really dirty and full of sand. And I felt like this would add too much grit and texture into my soup. So I did go ahead and I washed this out a little bit more thoroughly. Like a little bit of grit is okay because it lets you know then that this was a leek. Oh, darn, I should have kept a closer eye on this and I burnt it. Oh, well, that's okay. That's just gonna add a little more flavor. Okay, we're ready to add our chicken into this pot. All of my alliums are very deeply browned. Well, I mean a little burnt, but that's okay. And now we're just gonna add all of our chicken in there and get that into the hot pan so that it can start getting some color too. So this is what I like to refer to as the ugly stage, because there's really nothing more disgusting than raw meat, especially raw chicken. I just can't think of anything but salmonella. But you know what? This will cook. It'll be fine. And I'll get over it. Okay, so next you're adding your leek, and do it in big pieces because I'm sorry, it's so stupid to have small pieces of vegetable in a soup. That's just, I don't know, it's gross. Big pieces. And then just enough water to cover. Again, we don't want a wet soup. Liquid is the enemy here, so very minute amount. Just enough to cover the bottom of the pan, and then we're going to dissolve a couple of bouillon cubes into that small amount of water, and that's going to flavor it really heavily. We salted the chicken, but like we need to create a broth here, so that's what the bouillon cubes will do. And then we're just going to cover it and walk away. Like, go have a drink. It's going to take a couple of hours. Okay, this has been simmering for about 2 hours. And as you can see, all of that liquid has really evaporated away. There's very little in the bottom of this pan, which is just what I want. It's barely, dare I say, moist. So we have the foundations of our updated chicken soup in place. Instead of boneless, skinless chicken pieces, we've got nice bone-in, skin-on drumsticks. Leaving the bone in the meat means that when everything cooks down, the cartilage along with the bone will soften and break down a bit and become kind of jammy and a little bit crunchy, and it adds a really nice texture to this soup. I want to add some bitter greens. I'm going to be using this lacinato kale because I want texture. I don't want everything to be soft. And now I'm going to add my kale. Again, I just want it to wilt. I don't want it to cook all the way through and get soft. So just add that on top. And we'll give it a little bit of a stir. And now all that water is evaporated. It's just perfect. So old-fashioned chicken soup often had noodles in it, which is just disgusting. They are flabby and wet and add nothing flavor-wise or texture-wise. So we're going to fix that as well. And instead, we're going to create some really nice big croutons. And I'm going to use an artisanal loaf of bread to make these croutons. And I'm gonna toast this in a skillet to get them really nice and brown and leave them in nice large pieces. Okay, I'm just going to make the croutons now. So just get your bread in there and let it sizzle. We're just gonna toast this in the skillet until it's really nice and deeply browned and super crispy. Okay, so we've got all of the elements for our completed soup here. So I'm going to actually just put one of the croutons down on this dish and then spoon some of this soup on top of the crouton, maybe another crouton on top. Oh my gosh, okay, that looks like some amazing soup. Let me just take a bite. Those croutons add some really nice crunchy texture. It's not at all wet, as you can see. I mean, this is not a liquidy soup. It's a very solid soup. I just got a bite of the bone. It's really jammy and delicious. This is really the perfect chicken soup. It's not wet. It's really crispy. It's delicious. And you can pick it up and eat it with your hands.